Here's my home lab setup. I've got my B-Link connected to a USRP B210 that's running Debian 11. And then over here I've got my other Dell laptop running Debian 12 with my other USRP B205 mini. So I'm going to go over my open source 5G network. I've got two computers here. The screen on the right is going to be running srsUE, and the screen on the left is going to be running Open5gs core network and the srsRAN project GNodeB. First thing I like to do when just connecting is I like to just make sure that both of my USRPs are time synchronized. So I just go to the UHD utils directory and I run the query GPSDO sensors command. You'll see here it'll say GPS and UHD devices are time aligned. Both are good there, so that's what I like to see. So next, I can just check to see if my 5G core is running. So on the core side on the left, I'm going to do just a px grep Open5gs to see if it's running. Nothing's running there. I've created a binary. So if I go and I look at my binary for this, you'll just see, so what it's going to do is it's going to remove all the previous logs, and then it's going to set up the OGS ton device in case it's not already set up, and then it's just going to restart all of the 5G specific services. So that's there. And then I also have a stop 5G, which just stops all the services. But so I can just go ahead and type in 5GC. It gives me the IP is already assigned. So if I check my ifconfig, I see right here that this is the OGS ton. And then if I do another psaux, I can see all of the services are up and running. So at this point, what I like to do is I just like to do a, we'll go to the logs directory, and then I do a TCP dump on any interface and just name it 5G PCAP. So I'm going to start that. Then I'm going to navigate to my GNodeB configuration files. So I've got a specific configuration file for this setup. srsUE only does band 3 on 5G right now. So if I just go ahead and I look at my configuration file for that, so everything's running locally. So I'm just pointing to the AMF here. This is the bind editor, so this will be the address of the GNodeB. Device type, clock and sync, TX gain. So this is where all the channel settings are. So it's the downlink. ARFSON is 368,500. Bands 3, 20 megahertz bandwidth. Subcarrier spacing is 15. PLMN. I've got my tracking area code 77. My PCI set to 1, and then all this PDCCH and PRATCH information is necessary for the communication with srsUE. You'll also see that I have my log set to debug, and then I've got a bunch of PCAPs set up for different interfaces. So the MAC layer, the NGAP layer, and then the F1 and E1 interfaces between the CU and the DU. Out of here, and then I'm just going to run my GNodeB with the pointing to the specific configuration file. We're going to see that start up here. So we see here that it is now transmitting. So now if I go over to the right hand side, I go to my other computer. This is going to be where I'm running srsRAN. So I'm just going to go and look at the config file for that right now. So again, some important things here. I've messed around with this a lot, and this is the only configuration that allows me to actually connect past the random access procedure. So I'm using, and this is over the air too, by the way. The two USRPs are about 3 feet apart. So TX gain set to 80. So it's got the receive gains commented out. So I believe that by default turns on automatic gain control. So this was important right here, the device arguments, and then I had to specify clock is GPSDO. Without that, I was not able to get past the random access procedure, or I was getting scheduling failures. With the LTE EUTRA configuration, you just have to set the number of carriers to 0 so it doesn't look for LTE. And then for 5G, the new radio side, obviously specify band 3. It's going to be a single carrier, and then I've added these number of physical resource blocks as a maximum of 106, so that equates to the 20 megahertz bandwidth. I've also got, my MAC and NAS layer PCAPs turned on. My debug log is, it's set to debug, and then you can come down here and see the IMSI, the IMEI, and then the keys. So the K is the permanent key, and then the OBC key. I need to make sure that these are in the web UI, which I would have to go and physically go into the computer that I'm SSH'd into right now and confirm on the web UI, which is just localhost :9999, and then you log in and you can see all your subscriber information and edit it there. UE categories 4, the release is 15, so that's equates to the 3GPP release. And then for my PDU session, I just need to make sure that within the web UI, the subscriber database, that the APN matches what is specified in there, and then the APN protocol is also what is enabled by the core network. So IPv4 on the protocol, and then APN as my APN. Everything else is stuff I haven't touched or don't touch, so we can X out of here, and then I'm just going to run sudo srsUE. And we see that it was attaching, it completed the random access procedure, it got to RRC connected, and then it entered in a PDU session establishment successful. So my quote-unquote phone is on the network now with PDU session. I could browse to data through the network. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop the UE. I'm going to stop my GNodeB as well. So in order to get the handset to access the network, obviously it needs to pass the registration procedure, but we need to be able to point it towards what is going to provide it internet or data, so a data network. So if I check my IP tables, I just run this command, and I can see right here that it is set up to connect to an external network. So all good there. So that's pretty much it for running it. So now what I would generally do is stop my 5G core, also stop my TCP dump. So yeah, I stopped the TCP dump. For some reason, when I stop the 5G core on this computer, it disconnects my VPN, or stops it, so I just have to restart it. So that's what happened there. But so now you can see I've got these logs here. So generally I just like to copy those to my local machine. Just easier for me to analyze and look at them that way. And then for the GNodeB, if I just go to the temp directory, that's ugly. I can see right here all my logs from the GNodeB and PCAPs. So I would generally do the same thing there, SCP, the GNodeB logs to my local machine. And then on the srsUE side, they are also in temp. And I can see all of these logs and PCAPs were created. The UE metrics.csv, it will copy over when I do the SCP, but I'll generally just delete it. There's no information there.